Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Hi YouTube, it is a beautiful evening out there tonight looking out at the ocean, and I just wanted to come on here tonight and say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to this YouTube channel all throughout this evening. We are seeing a lot of people subscribing, and we're seeing a lot of love and support from the Descendants of Zombies fandom, making you guys the greatest fandom of all time. And I say this with 100% confidence in my heart because you guys have been with me from the very beginning. You guys saw something very special in this guy who created videos for Descendants of Zombies, and I couldn't have done it without you. I have to be honest. Because one of the greatest challenges as a YouTube creator is finding people falling into a niche that's going to hit your subscribe button every single time that you upload a video. And you know something? Every single time that I upload a video, even if it takes a day or two, somebody subscribes at least once to this YouTube channel. And it's amounted to something that's certainly gone on to exceed every one of my expectations as a YouTube creator, because I never imagined that I would be sitting here tonight having created one of the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channels in the world. I had thousands of people who believed in this YouTube channel enough to be with me from the very first video that has ever been uploaded here because they love Dove Cameron, because they love Clarke, because they were fans of Ruby Rose Turner. And I have this to say to each and every one of you. Thank you so much. If you are a person who has ever had a dream because of Descendants of Zombies, I've always wanted you to continue to follow your dream and to follow your passion, because it will fall into place for you in due time. It may feel as if you're far away from your dream ever becoming a realization for you, but when it finally happens for you, the feeling that you will get after you accomplish your dream is the greatest feeling in the world. You think about the Worlds Collide tour when Freya, Sky, and Clarke witnessed all of their dreams becoming a reality because they had the chance to perform in front of thousands of people in 43 arena dates this past summer. To be honest with you, 2025 summer was the greatest summer that I ever had the honor to profile anything, because I had the chance to review the Worlds Collide tour sitting at home here on YouTube in my office, and I had the time of my life. Because in all honesty, guys, when it came to reviews of the Worlds Collide tour, you guys deserved far better reviews than what you were seeing. You deserve far better reviews about Clarke, Freya, Sky, all the individual stars. And I just wanted to be a part of something special for each and every one of you. Little did I know, unbeknownst to how I felt, I would go on to create one of the greatest YouTube channels of all time for Descendants of Zombies fans. And you guys have forever been supportive of my videos. You've always trusted in what I've had to say about Descendants of Zombies. While this YouTube channel may have not been what everybody wanted, this YouTube channel was something special for every fan of Descendants of Zombies. And I think that a lot of people found this to be the YouTube channel for them, because the guy was actually making sense of what he had to say about people like Clarke and Freya Sky. And a lot of the reasons why I had to say what I did about Clarke and Malia Baker and Ruby Rose Turner was because I didn't see time in having tears in their eyes. I wanted to say something nice about them, and I think that a lot of people weren't really making sense of what they were saying to them. And I think that because a lot of people weren't making sense of their opinions when it came to people like Kylie and Ruby and Malia, I thought that somebody had to go out of their way to create something special for everybody who believed in Descendants of Zombies, because I believed in it just as much. I thought the story was beautiful. I thought the music was incredible. The song Life is Sweeter When You Are has been a bubblegum type song that instantly got stuck in my head. You know, there's something about that song, you know, Life is Sweeter When You Are, and the individual lyrics and verses really, you know, hit home with me, because it really demonstrated just how much further kindness can truly take a person in this lifetime, because simply we never see enough kindness people in this world. I mean, how many days go by that we never see somebody say hi to you when you pass by them walking in the park, or on your way home from school, or on your way getting off the school bus? I think we see this every day, and I just wish there were more kind people to, you know, take part in things every day in this lifetime, to really put a greater emphasis on just how much further kindness can take a person in this lifetime. Because when you show kindness to somebody who deserves to see a little bit of extra kindness regardless of what they may be going through, it really significantly impacts a person's life and changes their perspective on how they may be feeling. Kind of like what you guys did for me. I never ever imagined that I would go on to have almost 3,500 subscribers. Maybe not quite, but almost 3,500 subscribers having subscribed to this YouTube channel. I know I'll get there someday, because one thing I've never shied away from is that this YouTube channel still has a long way to go. But through the power of this YouTube channel and the YouTube platform, I've had the honor of sharing with you my thoughts and opinions on people like Dove Cameron, Sophia Carson, Ruby Rose Turner, Kylie Cantrell. For those of you who have been subscribed to my YouTube channel for a very long time, what must feel like forever for you, you know I feel very passionate about Ruby Rose Turner and everything that she's been a part of, from Fuller House to Eden to eventually Descendants, from Coop and Cammy Ask the World days. I was always a huge fan of Ruby because I thought Ruby was such appreciative of life and she was just so genuinely kind, as were all your favorite Descendants of Zombies stars. You guys really saw something special in Descendants of Zombies, and I think that more YouTube creators who would actually sit back and put this into perspective would go on to create far better reviews about Descendants of Zombies than they ever have. But unfortunately, because they can never seem to put this into perspective and just how much Descendants of Zombies means to each and every one of you, they can never seem to follow through with a great video. I think that the people who are fans of Descendants of Zombies are incredibly supportive. They obviously know who and what they love, and because they know everything there is to know about who and what they love, like Freya Sky, you guys have really blown this thing out of the water. And I'm really excited to see what the future has in store for people like Kylie and Freya, and to be a part of it with each and every one of you, simply because you guys have allowed me to be a part of this future, because you guys have allowed me to come along on this incredible journey. I've not only had the honor of talking about Descendants of Zombies, I've had the honor of meeting thousands of people who have felt inspired by their favorite characters and all these defining moments that have made them fans of Descendants of Zombies, because I know what it's like to be a fan of everything, from Earthworm Jim, and yes, I was a fan of Earthworm Jim, stop laughing, to Rugrats, yes, I was a fan of Rugrats, halt, I am Reptar, and I was also a fan of shows like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, and you're saying to yourself, hey Jonathan Clarke, were you around when the first Are You Afraid of the Dark episode ever premiered in 1990? For those of you who may remember when the first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark premiered, yes, I was. But my point being is, I know what it's like to be a fan of whatever you're a fan of. And I think that in the 1990s, you were encouraged more to be a fan of whatever you were a fan of. And I remember the phase of Pokemon and Pokemon cards and how crazy everybody was about collecting Pokemon cards, and the Power Rangers phase, and your phase where you were a fan of things like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark. And pretty much if you couldn't stay up all night and watch your latest episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps, you were pretty much considered a loser, because watching scary movies like Scream and what's another one, Saw, and things like that, if you couldn't make it through the entire production, you were pretty much a loser. So you kind of had to go through initiations. So I know what it's like to be a fan of whatever you're a fan of. I know what you did last summer was another one too. So I think that 25 years later in the future, I think we can be offering more encouragement to people who are fans of Descendants of Zombies. And I wish more YouTube creators felt the same way that I did when it came to uploading videos about Descendants of Zombies. I just heard an interview with Meg Donnelly where she said that, you know, a lot of people really couldn't make sense of why she felt the way she did growing up. She had a lot of support from her family and friends, but she always had battles with anxiety, which were always constant. She had a fear of this or that, and she always had a fear of messing up and felt as if she was never good enough. But I have this to say to every Meg Donnelly fan and Meg Donnelly herself. She is anything but what she thinks she is, and she is absolutely incredible. There was never a moment that I was a fan of zombies that Meg Donnelly never ceased to amaze me. Now, it may have taken over 500 cuts for her to get the scene perfect the way she wanted it to, or to have this character, Addison Wells, be brought to life in the way that she became to life in the Zombies franchise. But Addison Wells was a character that went on to mean so much to every person's heart, whoever was a fan of zombies. And it was because of what Meg Donnelly contributed to that character, bringing that character to life. I got to be honest with each and every one of you. From the first moment that I saw Meg Donnelly, I knew she was going to be something special. I had no doubt in my mind that she was going to be something incredible as a Disney kid growing up on Disney, and having the opportunity to be in this fantastic musical that had everything to do with zombies, werewolves, eventually aliens, and vampires, two different groups, Daywalkers and Nightwalkers, by Zombies 4. Now, I know a lot of people felt as if aliens could have came, or vampires should have happened before aliens. I think I got that right, but obviously, of course, aliens happened before vampires, and they didn't come into the story until Zombies 4. But I think everybody felt as if they were a part of something special, regardless of how this trilogy, the original trilogy, happened to come out. And of course, Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, setting us up for a beautiful love story now to be told and experienced by, of course, the characters Nova and Victor, played by Freya Sky and Malachi Burton, who I know a lot of people are really huge fans of. And I want to let you guys know for the future, when I upload videos, I'm going to give all the praise in the world to people like Freya Sky and Malachi Burton, which they deserve. They don't deserve to see all this criticism from fans who never seem to make enough sense of, why they're there where they are. They're there where they are because people believe in them enough. I remember watching Freya Sky on a show that was produced here out of Canada on YTV many years ago. It was called The Next Step, and this was the platform that allowed Freya Sky to become discovered by thousands of people and go on to become one of the most beloved names in the entertainment industry, which is an industry that is very unforgiving. They are very brutally honest with how they feel about you, and they're not going to shy away from letting you know how they feel about you. There's nothing as devastating as being in an audition room, auditioning for a role of, say, Supergirl, in Meg Donnelly's case, which she was denied because of Millie Alcott's performance being more outstanding than hers, or at least that's how the producers felt about it. You know, I was going to go watch the Superman movie this past summer. I went to see the Superman movie with the impression that Meg Donnelly was going to be in this movie. And a couple of days after I had purchased my advance tickets, oh, woe is me, I find out that Meg Donnelly was cut. And, you know, I thought Superman initially was going to be a great movie. I thought that Meg Donnelly's interview was very emotional about how she felt about being cut as Supergirl. And, you know, I thought this was going to be an amazing movie because up to this point, I had seen every Superman movie in existence. I had seen every superhero movie in chronological order. So I went to see it. And I remember being so upset about how the performance of Millie Alcott was anything but exceeding all of my expectations, because going into this I thought it was going to be an amazing performance. But the thing about Supergirl was so disrespectful. Supergirl did not represent the Supergirls of the past like Melissa Benoist and others who had portrayed her in many Superman adaptations over the years. And I ultimately came away from this movie feeling very frustrated because it wasn't the Superman that I remember growing up watching, because I was always a fan of the comic books. I just said I watched every superhero movie in chronological order, so I was feeling really let down. So, you know, I think back to Meg Donnelly feeling really upset about the fact that she wasn't casted as Supergirl, and I say to myself, you know, there are going to be more opportunities. You know, they thought she was good enough to narrow it down to her being one of the final two in consideration to be Supergirl. And to make it that far, how you've got to feel about this is to make it that far out of probably 500 auditions, because the way that things like Warner Brothers and Disney always work is they narrow it down to 500 auditions before they cut it down to the final two. And to say that you were one of the final two that were actually being considered to play Supergirl, a role that's revered as so iconic, is a testament to an accomplishment in its own right. So I think that there are going to be more opportunities for Meg Donnelly to seize. That doesn't mean that she wasn't good enough, and she shouldn't be feeling that way. And if there was one thing I was going to say on my podcast, it was going to be something nice about your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, because you think about everything they did for the Zombies franchise and the Descendants franchise. I mean, they did such magic. They really brought this to light, because without magic or believing in magic, I mean, what do you got to fall back on? You really have nothing. So if you are somebody out there who believes in magic, I think you should continue on believing in magic, because magic is real. Like I believe superheroes are real for forever. And you're saying to yourself, hey, Jonathan Clarke, superheroes are not real, man. Just quit being such a loser. Well, if you believe that superheroes are real, I know I'm not the only one out there who wanted to believe that superheroes are real. And if you can convince somebody that superheroes are real, or whatever dream they have can become a reality for them, and they're that much closer to that dream, then, you know, take it for what it's worth. I know everybody's opinions about superheroes and magic are very different. Come to think of it, I've always wanted to open up my own magic shop, and I've always wanted the opportunity to follow through with that dream, because I remember that character in Are You Afraid of the Dark, Mr. Sardo, accent on the dough, I believe is the way that it went. And I remember all these characters being so authentic, which really represented the original Are You Afraid of the Dark series, which of course premiered on October 31st, 1990. That was over 35 years ago. I can't even believe it's been that long. But I think about Malia Baker being on that show, and that's why I often resonate with the original Are You Afraid of the Dark, because I remember in the 1990s when that series first premiered, you were afraid to go to sleep after you watched an episode of that. And I think that the more that you believe in everything that you watch on TV is real, or you believe in the chances of magic being real, or that superheroes are real, it really encourages you that there is a future to be excited about for Descendants of Zombies. And I will record 500 more videos if that's what it takes to convince people that there is going to be a new chapter. There is going to be a future that's going to have everything to do with your favorite Descendants of Zombies characters. Regardless of who comes in and out of these franchises, you guys will forever and always have me as the dedicated voice and the dedicated YouTuber to upload videos about Descendants of Zombies, because I feel the way these YouTube channel works and these YouTube creators often perceive themselves are, they promise you these Descendants of Zombies videos, and sometimes up to 6 months pass before somebody uploads a video about Descendants of Zombies. In order to succeed as a YouTube creator, you've got to be very dedicated to your niche, and you've got to understand your niche for who they are and the content they love. And obviously for me, it's Descendants of Zombies. I never intended to become the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel in the world. It kind of just happened for me. And I let my opinion kind of run wild, and my dreams and my imaginations when it came to these characters in Descendants of Zombies run wild, with different plots being suggested from yours truly, hoping we were going to see this happen or that happen. I was never hoping we were going to have to experience a zombie apocalypse, but I took myself up on the opportunity to move into residence near a solar plantation and a chemical plant, which I know could explode at any given moment. But the way I perceive this thing is, in order to make people believe in what you're saying, you've not only got to talk about Descendants of Zombies, you've kind of got to live the Descendants of Zombies experience. And this past summer, for instance, just as an example, I had the chance to live that and experience that, because we saw all these new beautiful characters setting us up for the retelling of a story in a beautiful new trilogy for Zombies 5, which will kick off in April 2026. Filming is expected to commence, but I think there's a lot of early rumors, if you could say that, if I could say that, floating around about zombies, so I don't think that we can really confirm too much too soon, but I think that eventually, over time, Zombies 5 will happen. And I think Zombies 5 is just going to be as incredible as the original trilogy, because the original trilogy obviously held a very special place in each and every one of our hearts. We know it's going to have something to do with the water and aquatic creatures, as difficult as that is to roll off the back of your tongue. Let's say this together. Aquatic creatures. And if you could say it better than what I can, my heart is forever and always with you. I've always had this appreciation for mermaids too, and I've heard so many stories, and I've read so many books about mermaids over the years. So if there's one guy, if you guys are looking for a guy to appreciate mermaids and aquatic creatures, then look no further than this guy, because I remember reading the Little Mermaid novel, and I wasn't very young when I read the Mermaid novel. And it was amazing how, you know, the writer of this book could bring this character to life. She had such an appreciation for life. She had such curiosity about the outside world, which was above the water. And eventually, when she got the opportunity to come out of it, her life was more than she ever imagined it would be. And I remember being so captivated by this story. And now, with the possibility of mermaids seeing their introduction into the Zombies franchise for the first time ever, I think it's a chance for us to believe in something that we've never ever had the chance to believe in before. Now, how they're going to pull this one off, it's going to be merfolk. This is how they're referring to it as, apparently. So pretty much there's going to be everyday human beings who are going to be disguised as mermaids. So I don't know how many scenes we're going to see them jumping into the water or what have you. But they're obviously going to be referred to as merfolk, which is going to be Seabrook's latest residence. So we're going to see how they mix things up. Obviously, it's going to cause every supernatural force we've previously seen in the Zombies franchise kind of come into the mix. And it's going to make for a beautiful story, because I've taken away a greater appreciation for mermaids every single time that I've ever read stories or watched movies having anything to do with it. I remember this movie that Sarah Paxton starred in back in the late 2000s. It was called Aquamarine, and I'm sure many of you remember that, and how they brought that mermaid to life. So if they incorporate the same kind of detail, this is going to be a really beautiful movie. And I think that after seeing mermaids portrayed by Jodie Benson, who was the original voice of the Little Mermaid, and Sarah Paxton's portrayal of an aquatic marine back in Aquamarine years ago, I think we can take away a greater appreciation for this kind of thing and be more excited about something than ever before. But again, guys, thank you so much for having been the fans of Descendants of Zombies that you have forever and always remained to be. You have definitely remained consistent with this, and you guys have forever and always been the reason why this YouTube channel has gone on to see so much profound success. I honestly couldn't have done it without your guys' love and support. This is truly something incredible, something that I will never ever forget. I usually don't record videos this late, but when something special seems to happen for this YouTube channel, I go out of my way to record an additional video or two, because I think you guys have deserved way better reviews of Descendants of Zombies for a very long time. And I know I'm a real loser who hosts the show, but I've always taken away a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies every single time, because I know how it goes. There are a lot of people who upload these videos about Descendants of Zombies who never seem to make any sense, who promise you this is going to happen or say that's going to happen because that's what they believe. And I think that the more people who don't pay attention to these critics on YouTube, the better off we're all going to be, because the most love and support that we see for Descendants of Zombies all the time are from the fans. And that's exactly why this YouTube channel will go on to celebrate over 100,000 views coming up this week. We will celebrate the 30th birthday of Dove Cameron and everything else special that has everything to do with Descendants of Zombies. By the way, Dove Cameron, happy early 30th birthday. I can't believe Dove Cameron is turning 30 years old. We will celebrate that this coming week. That will happen on Thursday night, and I cordially invite you to join me for that, because this masquerade ball that we've experienced over the last year, it never has to be over. So too does this story never ever have to be over, because what it comes down to is how much you believe in Descendants of Zombies. From my heart to yours, thank you so much for having made this your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel. I can't believe that we've gotten to this point, but we did. And we did together. And there is no better way to experience the future of Descendants of Zombies that is forthcoming than by experiencing it together. Having said that, it's been my honor to record almost 800 videos plus about Descendants of Zombies and seen over 100,000 views happen for this YouTube channel. There are also a lot of up-and-coming conversations about Leomani Segura's character Pink in the Descendants franchise, which is a character I'm really excited to meet. I'm really heartbroken over the fact Ruby Rose Turner is not going to be a part of this franchise moving forward, but she's one character I've never wanted to let go of, never wanted to say goodbye to, because I believed her story is anything but having been told and completed. Leomani Segura will come in to fill the void. Let's see how she does. I think she's going to be one of those magical, very unpredictable characters, making this installment of Descendants one that's going to be far more exciting than any previous installment we've already seen, talking about the original trilogy and this new spin-off, The Rise of Red, which stole our hearts for the first time in 2024. Thank you guys so much for having watched this video and believing in this YouTube channel as much as what you have. I could never have done this without you. I don't know where I'd be tonight if not for each and every one of you, but trust in me. Descendants 5 and Zombies 5 are coming. We just don't know when. All that remains is that we have to get there together, and trust me, we will, because anyone who's ever had a dream having anything to do with Descendants of Zombies or because of Descendants of Zombies should continue on believing in that dream and continue on following your passions, because when you finally realize your dream, the feeling you get is a feeling of appreciation that is unlike anything that you will ever experience in your lifetime, just as having the chance to experience Descendants of Zombies with all of you has been an experience that I know that I will never ever forget and will want to hold a very special place in my heart for many, many years to come. Thank you guys for having watched this video and having made this YouTube channel your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time.